everyone, and welcome back to the Valeo Experience YouTube channel. I am Dr. Giselle Miller from the lovely island of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and it is my pleasure to be with you Season 2, where we are looking at resilience, bouncing back from life's hardships. And this is part 2 of our discussion as it relates to coping with separation and divorce. Breaking up, it is so hard. When we think about the fact that you would have invested time, money, this is someone that you have pledged your life to, be it in a common law relationship or you're legally married, you understand that you went in with the intention that this is something that's going to last forever. Regardless of who has the biggest blame, if you want to call it that, it is still going to be difficult. And it is important for us to understand how to make sense of this and to move on from it. There is life after divorce. Trust me when I tell you there is life after divorce. You can still pick up the pieces, you can move on, and you can even be part of a wholesome relationship again. Today, we want to talk a little bit as it relates to what really happens when you go through a divorce, when you experience divorce. It's a grieving process. Just as you would have lost a loved one to death, divorce is unique in the sense that you have broken ties with someone, but the person is still alive. You're still connected. So persons find it difficult to move on because now you can probably, in a small society like St. Vincent, you're going to run into your ex-partner. You're going to run into them because maybe you have children and you are now co-parenting. So a lot of this becomes difficult for you to experience closure because constantly you are reminded of the relationship that did not work. And when we think of the dynamics of our own society, where we have all of the public opinions, where persons breed in to say that you did this or he did that or whatever the case is, and you have to now filter through all of that. You have your own personal thoughts that you're dealing with, plus everyone is weighing in your relationship. It becomes extremely daunting, it becomes extremely overwhelming, but it is important to understand how to navigate through all of that. So how do you cope really with divorce? One of the first things we have to understand is we need to recognize that it is okay for you to have the sad and depressed feelings. It is okay for you to feel broken. Persons often tell you, pull it together, you're going to be fine, just move on, brush it off and go ahead. But I remember a saying that my grandmother used to always tell me as it relates to who is in the kitchen feels the heat. So you have to take the time to actually appreciate the feelings that you have about this particular thing. The betrayal, the disappointment, the hurt, because obviously for some persons it is as if the rug was pulled from under you. So you have to connect with that feeling, take that moment to appreciate it for what it is. If you have to cry, cry. If you have to scream, do whatever you have to do to feel and get rid of that initial shock and that initial hurt so that you can now start processing the information to move forward. The second thing that you have to think about, give yourself a break. Take yourself out of the equation. Too often we are bombarded time and time again, repeatedly, with all of the different opinions as I mentioned before. So take yourself out of it. Maybe go on a retreat. Go away for a weekend if you can afford to. Separate yourself from all that is going on around you so that it is not a case where you feel as if somebody is pushing you against the wall and you can't breathe. Take the time to actually exhale. Take a deep breath, reposition yourself, and figure out, what am I going to do next? The other thing, don't go through this alone. Don't feel that you have to experience all of this by yourself. Who is your trusted network, your support system? And I'm not speaking about persons who are just there to get the as we say in the Caribbean, the millie, which means that they want to get all the juice, so that before you even finish the conversation with them, they are now moving on to tell other persons about it. I'm speaking about persons that you can trust to be your support structure. That they're going to be there during the hard times. They're going to try and help to lift you up and to encourage you to move forward. So tap into that network. It could be that you want to probably, for some persons, they go back to their pastors, or they go to a counselor or someone to form that initial base. But if you have your family and your friends that you feel you can rely on, don't go through your divorce by yourself. Take care of yourself emotionally and physically. For some persons, when they are stressed, you stop eating, you're not sleeping. This is something that you have to keep tabs on. You need to rest. Because if you're not resting, your brain is not going to be able to process the information properly. Emotionally, you have to know when you are at the place where you're shutting down. You have to identify the triggers, the things that are going to push you over the edge, because when you are overwhelmed, then every little thing becomes a trigger. And it means now that you can be basically projecting onto other persons and other circumstances. It is also important for you to take your part of the blame. Yes, I know it's hard. When we think of a relationship, it takes two persons, two to tango. Yes, it may be that the other partner might have been predominantly the one at blame, at fault, but think about it. Each and every one of us had a part to play in that relationship, in the success and in the failure. So we have to be willing and open to be honest with ourselves and figure out, did I do something that could have been done differently? Because we are thinking about resilience, meaning that you have to pick yourself up at some point and move forward. If you're still making the same mistakes, the next relationship, it is going to be pretty much the same. So we have to now figure out, how can I get to that place where I acknowledge where I went wrong, fix it for the next time that you have an opportunity in a relationship. And most importantly, and probably the last one that I want to tell you, that you have to get to that place where you understand it's important to forgive yourself, but you have to forgive your partner. You have to forgive your partner. You have to forgive all of the other persons that, probably acted in a particular way during the whole process. Because one of the things about divorce is that, and separation, people take sides. We can't shy away from that. And even as you think about, if you have children, you have friends, family, persons are going to decide, who am I going to pledge my allegiance to? You have to learn to let certain things go, because if you do not allow it to go, you're going to be taking one baggage from one situation into the other, and the healing process is going to be delayed. So that's pretty much the advice or the tips I'm going to give you today as it relates to coping with separation and divorce. If, for instance, probably you are contemplating divorce now, you're thinking that this is not working, I would want to say to you to take a step back and really think about your relationship. Figure out what is it you want to achieve, because sometimes in the heat of the emotion, we react rather than respond. Get the advice from your marriage counselors, your pastors, whomever that can actually invest the time with you and your partner to see if it is something that can be resolved before you even consider divorce. Okay? So that's it, guys. I hope these tips help, and we will be back again and we'll be looking at domestic abuse. Take care. Bye-bye.